Let's be honest, who hasn't daydreamed about finding a hidden treasure? It's that little thrill you get when you're sorting through an old jewelry box from your grandmother or opening a dusty trunk in the attic. You pull out a string of pearls, an old coin, or a tarnished old watch, and for one fleeting second, you think, what if? What if this is the one? For most of us, it ends up being a beautiful piece of costume jewelry or a lovely, sentimental trinket. But the magic of a show like Antiques Roadshow is that, every once in a while, that what-if moment turns into something truly breathtaking. We live for those moments. The camera zooms in on a hopeful guest, the appraiser slowly looks up from their magnifying loupe, takes a deep breath, and prepares to change someone's life. Recently, on a Maryland Zoo Hour 1 episode of the beloved PBS show, we got one of those moments. It was the kind that gives you goosebumps. A story of family love, intuition, and an object that wasn't just valuable, but hit the trifecta. A father's gift, a mother's treasure. A guest stepped up to the table of appraiser Paul Winicki, a respected expert from Radcliffe Jewelers in Baltimore. In her hands, she held a stunning, glittering watch. As is so often the case, the story behind the piece was just as beautiful as the object itself. The guest explained that the watch was a cherished family heirloom, bought by her father for her mother back in 1970. This wasn't just any dad. He was a man who knew people. The guest described him as a Schreiner and a Mason, a man who, through his community involvement, had built a wide network of contacts. One of those contacts was a man with the fantastic nickname, the Trophy King of Baltimore, a local jeweler named Larry Beck. You can just picture him, can't you? A classic, mid-century local businessman who knew everyone and could get anything. The guest's father had a love for beautiful things and would often buy jewelry from Beck. The two had an arrangement. If there were things that Beck thought her father would be interested in, the guest explained, he would call him and have him come out to look. One day that call must have been for this very watch. It was a gift of love from a husband to his wife. And like any treasured gift, it wasn't locked away, it was worn. My mother used to wear it as a pin, the guest shared, when she would go out to dance or dinner. You can almost see her, can't you? Getting dressed for a special night out, the sound of Frank Sinatra on the record player, her husband waiting. She fastens this glittering piece to her dress, the final, perfect touch. This watch wasn't just sitting in a box, it was living. It was at dinners, at parties, at dances. It was a silent witness to a lifetime of memories. The $2,000 offer and a gut feeling. As time went on, the watch was passed down. The guest, now its caretaker, knew it was special. But how special? She took it to 2 different jewelers to get an idea of its value. Both offers came back the same, $2,000. Now, $2,000 is not a small amount of money. But to the guest, it just felt wrong. It didn't feel right for a piece that held so much family history and looked so exquisite. But more than that, she had an intuition, a gut feeling that so many of us have learned to trust. I just felt like there was something more to that watch than what they were saying, she told the appraiser. And wasn't she right? How many times have we been in that position, being told something's value, and having that little voice in the back of our head whisper, "No, I think you're missing something." She listened to that voice. She wasn't ready to sell, and she certainly wasn't going to let it go for what felt like a fraction of its true worth. So she held onto it. And one day she brought it to the one place that values the story as much as the object, the Antiques Roadshow, the expert, the reveal, and the trifecta. Appraiser Paul Winicki examined the piece. He asked the right questions, his expert eyes scanning every detail. "Is there another piece to it then that made it a pin?" he inquired. The guest confirmed there used to be a pin attachment, but it wasn't original to the watch itself. She told him about the $2,000 offers, about her unshakable feeling that it was worth more. Winicki listened, a small smile playing on his lips. He knew what was coming. He asked if she had any idea what her father paid for it back in 1970. She sadly did not. Then, Winicki delivered the line that every Roadshow fan waits for. "So your dad sort of hit the trifecta when he caught the watch," he began. You could feel the collective intake of breath. The trifecta. That sounds serious. And oh, it was. Winicki broke it down, and each piece of the puzzle was more impressive than the last. First, the material. The watch wasn't just white gold, it was platinum, the king of metals, rarer, denser, and more prestigious than gold.